We're talking about the drones in New Jersey that have recently been popping up over the last 4 weeks or so. I think there was also some sightings in New York.
Yeah, so there's been sightings in New York, New Jersey, and they're spreading out farther and farther across the U.S.
Yeah. Most of the sightings that I've heard about are at night. But I have heard of at least one during the day that I have on my list of stuff to talk about. So should we just start with one of our talking points, or is there any other stuff that we want to talk about the drones in general?
Yeah. Um, yeah, you go first.
Okay. I'm gonna skip the first one. So the mayor of Washington, the town, not the state or whatever, he's the mayor, said that he has been, of course, asking a lot of questions and he's been wanting to know what's going on. And recently, him and 21 other different mayors wrote a letter to the governor asking for, and this is all in New Jersey, asking for more information. Like they wanted to know what's going on. Their communities are bugging them about it. Everybody's paranoid. It's been going on for 4 weeks. So the mayor set up a meeting, didn't show up to the meeting, and they had let's see, what is the name? Conroll. I didn't write his name down. He's a Conroll. Colonel. That's the
Colonel.
word. Yeah, he's a colonel with the state police. And he said, like, the 22 mayors were in there, and he was like, okay, by the time we get to the end of this meeting, you guys are going to know everything we know. And the mayor was, of course, talking about all this on a TV interview of a news station, and he was like, yeah, at the end of the meeting, they didn't know anything. Like, they didn't know where it was taking off from, where it was going, where they weren't tracking the patterns or anything. Basically, the state police didn't have any information for us. Over the last 4 weeks, nothing to report.
Which Donald Trump has commented on that. He said that the government definitely knows, which I agree with him. He has weekly briefings with the government, and I think Trump also knows,
Yeah.
but I don't think he's going to say anything.
Yeah. I did see that. I think CNN, and I think there was a couple other people doing it. I think I know which Trump interview you're talking about. And I remember during that interview, he was asked, have you had a briefing or anything? And his response to that was just, I don't want to comment on that.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, so don't know if he's actually talked to anybody with the federal. He has connections. I'm sure he might have had some state connections, or maybe someone with the federal government. But from what it sounds like, I don't think he's had an actual briefing on the drones. But I would hope that our federal government at least knows. Maybe they're not the ones, hopefully they're either the ones doing it, or they at the very least know who's doing it.
I saw somewhere, didn't write it down or anything, but they posted, I think it was CNN, said something about the Air Force Base shutting down. I'm gonna see
Yeah.
if I can find that.
Yeah, I think I didn't write that one down either. I heard about a couple different airports shutting down recently. Um and I think there was 2 arrested for an airport. I don't remember where the airport was. I don't know if that might have been either the military base, but I think that there was 2 people arrested recently for flying drones near the airport.
Yeah. There's been 100 or 12 or 13 drone sightings. They say that they're the size of a car,
Yeah. Well,
which is massive
yeah.
for a drone.
Yeah, it is. One of the ones I saw, and I saw a photo of it, was a drone. Let's see, I have it written down. One of them was the size of a car, and it flew over an event in California that Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin was attending. In the picture they had of it, it kind of, in my opinion, looked more like 4 drones like with this like what is it, a lapper bag, what they used to put potatoes in, like a really big bag. So I forget what that material is called.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, it's
I
the
know.
it's a really rough material, but they put like dog food and a bunch. They used to put dog food, grains, and stuff in it. It looked like one of those bags with like 4 drones attached to it, but supposedly it was the size of a car.
Burlap sack.
Yeah, burlap. That's the supposedly is the size of the car, and it flew over this event. I don't know what the event was. I don't know why. If it was just like a public event that the defense secretary was attending, but that one was actually during the day, so like it was bright daylight, wasn't like dusk or anything. Um, and they had a photo of it.
A lot of people are calling it UFOs and whatnot. Now, I've seen some experts talk about it, alien experts, and they're like, it's definitely not aliens.
Yeah,
But there are still tons of conspiracies and whatnot that you have about aliens and all these 50 drones over New Jersey.
yeah. Well, I've seen a lot of news sources reporting that experts, they have not, as far as the ones I've seen, I've not seen any of them like label or say expert John Smith or anything, but they keep saying that experts say that a lot of these sightings might be manned aircrafts that have been mistaken as drones. So I guess according to experts, there's more smaller aircrafts up there than normal for some reason.
I think a lot of those videos that are being shown are just airplanes.
Yeah.
Just airplanes and way up in the sky.
So one of the things I thought of is because I've seen a lot of the videos where it's like 3 lights flying together, and a lot of drones have 4 lights on them. So I'm kind of wondering if some of them, maybe not all of them, because some of them they fly, which I think drones can't. Most drones can fly diagonal. Um, but I'm wondering if just one light's burnt out on the drone. So there should be 4, but there's just 3. And then if it's flying diagonal, it's going to look like it's flying straight.
Yeah, and that could be the case. I think it's weird that they're only doing it at night.
Yeah.
There's no drone sightings during the day, so we can't really tell for sure because
So
there isn't no clear videos of it that we've seen.
yeah. So last year, as of last year, the FFA actually introduced a new policy allowing drones to be flown at night. Apparently, technically, like I guess the bigger drones aren't allowed to be flown at night. Like, because technically, you could buy a drone or I could buy a drone. You don't have to have a license or permit or anything for it right now, and you can just fly it. And as of last year, you're actually allowed to do it at night. Um, Apparently, up until now, you weren't supposed to or you weren't allowed to. So that's also a possibility of why there's more drones. It's just who's flying the drones.
Also about the 3 lights, it could just be the fourth light is behind it,
Yeah,
out of perspective.
yeah, obscured in some way.
Yeah. There was one video I was watching. The lady was showing the camera. She's saying it was down low by the tree lines, but it seemed like it was much farther away. Like it was much higher up,
Mm-hmm.
but it was behind the trees from her perspective, and it just looked like it was down lower than what I think it really was.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's like a company. Because I'm thinking possibly like Amazon or something's testing drones. I would assume if they did that, hopefully our government knows, and that's why they're just like, oh, we don't care. Maybe there's some sort of agreement to stay silent and just let them test without the public having to be privy to it for some reason. Or maybe it's some sort of mapping out thing for a company that's like using self-driving cars, and they're just for some reason mapping out at night. Maybe they need nighttime data. Maybe they already have enough daytime data or something.
Yeah, that's definitely a possibility. Although I still feel like they shouldn't have any kind of agreement like that whenever the entire population here is coming up with all sorts of things for what they could be. They're all getting scared.
Oh yeah, I definitely agree that it's, especially whenever it's become this big of a news, that our government shouldn't be obscuring or allowing information to stay, if it's, they should give you some sort of acknowledgement of the information and as much as they can about the information if it's something related to like a company in the private sector, um whether that's just saying it's controlled and monitored drones, we know who they are, maybe saying hey it's Google's doing this, they're doing some experiments, can't give you any farther details. I definitely think it would be, the government would be a lot better off, and so would the public, if we actually just had some sort of clarification if they know what's going on.
I think that would make a whole lot of sense. I don't know. I got some pages pulled up here that's just talking about it. There isn't really a whole lot to the story. It's basically just a bunch of drones hovering over cities,
Yeah,
and that's all we know.
yeah. I've seen a couple of maps of like heat maps of where the spottings have been. Um, doesn't From what I was seeing, I saw a couple different ones, and they looked different, but none of them looked like it was like a pattern or a circle or anything like that. Didn't even look like it was um heavily in one specific area, but I don't know the cities. Maybe those are residential areas, or maybe those are more commercial areas. I don't know, but that might be, if they're gathering data, might be related to something like that. Oh yeah, the mayor that met with the police, the state police colonel, he also said that one of the reasons why he was so concerned about it is because he's kind of out in the middle of nowhere, and they don't have any like military. They've never had any military. There's no bunkers or anything like that out there. He's like, the closest thing we have to us that's not even in our like county is a golf course. So like, what are they doing out here? Like, it's, they got to be spying on, or it's, they had to be gathering information on the people because we're out in the middle of nowhere. There's nothing out here.
Maybe they just wanted to gather information on Donald Trump. You know, there's been a couple shootings on him. That's where his golf course is at.
Yeah.
He's probably, and he said he's not going over there now.
Yeah. The
I wouldn't
mayor
either.
said at first, about 4 weeks ago, he wasn't that concerned about the drone sightings because he apparently Joe Biden was going to be nearby, so he assumed maybe there was some sort of just like expedition to explore the nearby areas because he knew Joe Biden was coming to like a nearby town or maybe to his town. But then after like 4 weeks of this still happening, he's like, "What's going on?"
Yeah, a lot of crazy stuff going on in today's world.
Yeah.
All right, now what are we talking about?
That's all I had for this one. So I went through all my points and I remembered something I forgot to wrote down. Let me double check. My first point that I skipped was I don't think Trump knows anything. I just kind of slipped that in there where you were talking about him. Like he is, from what he was saying, I don't think he's been briefed or anything. Like you said, maybe he has some sort of connection, but I don't think he's been set down because a lot of the times you are briefed on stuff if you're going to be someone like a candidate running, or the vice president, whatever. You just get briefed.
Yeah.
And he was asked, and he was like, "I'm not commenting on that,"
I
which
mean,
is
it
odd.
makes total sense why. Um, it makes total sense that the government would 100% know about everything that's going on.
Yeah,
They have all the technology for it.
they should have all the
Trump
technology for it.
is gonna be president. He's getting briefed on stuff, and so I'd assume he's probably getting briefed on that as well.
Yeah. I thought it was kind of odd that he would say he doesn't want to comment on it, because the only reasons why I wouldn't want to comment on it in that position would be if I know that knowing the information can put me in danger. So if it was another country doing something that we for some reason aren't in control of, and he knows that if he was to say, "Oh yeah, I know what's going on," then maybe he's a target. Because I really don't see why you wouldn't be like, "Oh yeah, I was briefed, but I can't talk about it."
Right.
Whereas he said, "I don't want to talk." Like he just shut it down. He wasn't going to say if he was briefed or not.
I think it's more like it's just highly confidential, and he may not have even been briefed on it, but he's probably been briefed on other things. Just can't talk about anything whatsoever at all, so he doesn't even try to dance around the bush. Just can't talk about it.
Pulling a Tom Holland, just avoiding everything.
Yeah.
Tom Holland was the Spider-Man guy that kept on doing all the spoilers for those of you who don't know. Yeah.
Everyone knows Spider-Man.
They know Spider-Man, but they may not have known Tom Holland. Like, they'd be like, who's that?
Oh, yeah, true.
So.
All right. That's the end of Dylan's podcast here, and my guest, Joey Wenzel.
Oh, really? Yeah. I believe what you meant to say is that's the end of A Cynic and the Demon's Advocate.
The Demon's Advocate.
No, Devil's Advocate.
That's the Devil's Advocate. Get it right here.
That was closer. That's all that matters.
All right. Well, see ya.
Don't forget to subscribe.